Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I'm your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. How do I do that? I review the wines, grade them, and then it's up to you. It's your palate. Mine doesn't matter. It's all about you. Hopefully though, like I said in the past, hopefully you're figuring out my palate so it helps you to find what you might like. And as you can see, we're doing a blind tasting of Bordeaux. And I have to say I'm excited. I've seen a trend, at least in my part of the United States, up in Western Washington, where there's a bigger interest in French wines, and in particular Bordeaux, because now we see a lot of fairly decent Bordeaux hitting the market at $25 and under, sometimes around $10. There's been some pretty phenomenal, at least I consider them phenomenal, Bordeaux that you can enjoy. They're Bordeaux Superior. They're not specific, like Médoc or Margaux or Saint-Estèphe or Pomerol, but they certainly reflect the vintage characteristics of those areas. So it's kind of exciting to see that trend. These are blends. I knew eventually that we'd see that because blends are a big thing from the United States. So, once people figure out, hey, these are blends also, although they're not quite as creative as we can be here in the United States. It's been a busy last couple of days for me. I've been tasting a ton of wine. I went to a tasting up in Bellingham with the distributor on Tuesday, and then Thursday, yesterday, was nuts. All these tons of salesmen bringing me tons of wines. I think in the last 2 days I've tasted close to 40 wines. Amazing. So now we're going to do a blind tasting. So now let's go to number one. There you go. I'm not going to zoom in for you on that. It says number one. Now let's do it just for the fun of it. Why not? Go, number one. Okay. Let's see what we got. A little rinse. It's kind of cool to see Bordeaux, because it means that people are trending towards maybe more old world style wines, which is really cool. And we went, for a while there, you could not get decent Bordeaux for under $40. That's changed a little bit with the, now in China, when they're more interested in Napa wines than they are in Bordeaux. First growth Bordeaux are not screaming out the door like they did in the past. So yeah, there's definitely a better juice available at a reduced cost. So let's see what we get on the nose. So I'm getting a little spice box here. I don't know why my cat seems to love to hang out on the bottom of the tripod, which is kind of scary because he's a big cat. He could knock this camera right off its surface. So let's see if he bumps it again. So a little spice box, a little currants coming through. Definitely a red flower, sort of perfumed red flowers, like more like a soap bar type of perfumed red flower. I get a little cigar box coming through. Not super aromatic, but there's definitely some elements there. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very acidic. This is a very acidic wine, very bright, very mouth-puckering. I get red cherries, cranberry, red currants coming through, a little bit of tobacco. That cigar box element is there, but I think it's a little bit buried by the acid on the palate. I know some people that would love this wine. They love high acid wines. I'm thinking of Maddie. Shout out to Maddie. He used to be my sales rep for Grape Expectations. He would love this wine. Red flowers all day, but it's very tart. I mean, this is a very tart wine. And this is like one of those wines where you say, well, maybe 15 to 20% of customers that I know I can sell this to. But overall, I would say it's one of those wines I would lay it down for maybe 3 to 4 years, see what it does, see if that acid integrates with the fruit a little bit better. It's just a little too astringent for me on that one. So, what are we going to give number 1? By the way, I don't know if I mentioned, but all these wines are under 20 bucks. I think they're all under 15. Okay, there you go. I'm going to just guess the price because I have a general idea of where they're at. So I'm going to guess at which ones are where. Now let's go to wine number 2. So wine number 1 didn't impress me. I'm not a big high acid wine. Even with food, the acid was too much on that one. You want a little acidity for food. It certainly cuts through the protein of meat. They make a good match, a good marriage. Sometimes a stinky cheese will do the trick. But, you know. Wine number 2. Wish I had my son here. This would be fun to do with him. Alright, let's see what we get on the nose. This one's a little darker, which is interesting. So this has more worn leather, which is a characteristic of Bordeaux that I really like. Sort of a violets and cherries and currants. I'm also getting a little bit of that kind of old wood sort of spice coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. Now this one has acid too, but it's much more in balance with the fruit. I get nice red cherries. I get like an old leather component coming through. A lot of red flowers like violets and rose petal coming through big time. Let's take another whirl here. Good balance, good structure, still bright. This is still a bright little puppy, but I think that there's more fruit, there's more characteristics, there's a little bit of minerality on this one. On the backside I get a little gravel, wet stone coming through. I like that one a lot better than the first one, and I think with a 3 to 4 to 5 years of aging, this one will definitely integrate better with the fruit than the first one. Alright, let's move on to the next one. It's kind of fun. I like doing this. I have no idea. I'm not even familiar with these wines really. But I had somebody else bag them up for me, so I have no idea. Wine number 3. You know, a lot of times Bordeaux will, the determining factor is what side of the bank they come on. If they're from the right bank, they have more Merlot than anything. It's not, they don't always hold solid to that, but that's pretty much 95 to 98% guaranteed that more Merlot from the right bank of the Gironde River and more Cab from the left bank of the river. A little deeper on the nose with this one. Definitely more currants. The currants are a little richer, a little deeper. Definitely get leather, get a little cigar box going on here. And kind of an old wood. You know, like when you're around, have you ever been around like an old board that's kind of rotting just a little bit and it has a little bit of water on it and you get that smell? That's what I'm getting on this one. Has a little bit of a sweet fragrance coming through. This is very interesting. Let's give it a whirl. Let's see what we get on the palate. Much rounder, much more structure than the first two. Less acid, more fruit. Get a lot of minerality on this one. A little bit of baked earth coming through. Little red cherries, a little bit of cranberry, just a touch of cranberry. A little bit of currants, more on the red currant side. And that leather element is really coming through with a little bit of forest floor. Still very dry. Very dry. All three of these are dry. My mouth feels like I have sand in it. They are so dry. These definitely demand food. I need a big chunk of steak right now so I can eat it while I'm having these wines. Definitely not wines you would sit down and just enjoy the Oscars with and drink a bottle of Bordeaux. None of these fall in that category. This third one, though, by far is the better of the three so far. I really like it. I think it will age anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 years. It has good structure, good balance, nice integration of fruit and acid. I like it a lot. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Well, I sort of do. I need to practice these blind. I don't know if you guys enjoy these or not. All my viewers tend to be lurkers, or they don't comment. But this is number 4. There you go, number 4 of the Bordeaux's, all under 20 bucks. A little rinse. And that's really, you think about European wines, they do tend to be wines that are made to go with food. Unlike New World, where a lot of times they're made like cocktail wines where they're made to go solo, which a lot of millennials like to do, by the way. Europeans still make their wines to go with food. Let's see what we get on the nose. Now this one's riper. Right off the bat, to me this smells more like a Cali Cab. Ripe currants. A little bit of vanilla coming through. Definitely get some rose petal, like more on the wilted rose petal, like, you know, it's rose is really, really ripe rose petal. But definitely big time currants. Let's see what we get on the palate. Now this is definitely more of a, what I would call an 80% Bordeaux. I mean, 80% of the people that try this will really like it. It's got nice ripe currants, good violet and rose petal elements coming through, good structure. There's acidity, but it definitely is more balanced with the fruit as far as not overtaking it too much. Has good minerality. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of grip on the backside of this wine. There's definitely an oak characteristic coming through on the backside. Really, really gets into that red flower element right on the finish with a little bit of leather, very mineral driven, nice wine. You really, you could decant this and probably drink it by itself if you wanted to, but this is definitely more of the style that I think more people would like, and it'll age. There's no doubt in my mind this will go 10 to 15 years. No doubt in my mind, because the acid fruit combination. Okay, let's find number 4. And I do know these are all 15 and under, so I'm very impressed with this wine at that price point. So let's put them in the order of where they go. Okay, that'll be number 1. So 4 is number 1. 3 came in second. 2 came in third. And number 1 came in last. All right, so let's I'm going to move these over here so we can do this. It's always kind of tricky. I don't have a huge area to work with. So, number one, I gave it a C minus, and I guess at around $10, is the Chateau Roque de Lavreau 2012 Bordeaux Superior, $10. I've never tried this one before. I think it's way too acidic. This is a big pass for me, even at $10. All right. Number two came in third place. I gave it a C plus. I figured it at $10, so I liked it a little bit better. This is a Chateau Camarson Bordeaux 2012. It is $10. Not bad so far, huh? All right, there you go. Like this one a little better. Still thought the acid was too much in it. I don't think it's going to be one of those wines that a lot of people will gravitate towards, but I think with a little bit of age it'll soften up a bit. So in second place, number three, I gave it a BB plus at $15. Is the Chateau Roustain Bordeaux Reserve VA Vines, so old vines, 2012, $14. There you go. Right, there's the label. Excuse me, my cat is knocking. Which I don't like, by the way. Makes scratches on the screen. So every year I have to replace the screen. Anyway, that was a nice wine. I liked it. I thought it still had acid, but I thought it also was a little bit more fruit integrated into the acid, and I thought it would age nicely over the next 5 to 8 years. So in first place, number four, I gave it a B plus, A minus, $15. The Chateau La Marotine 2010, so this baby has some age on it. 2010, good vintage in Bordeaux by Bordeaux, and this rolls in at $14. So there you go. Very nice Bordeaux, by the way. Like this one a lot. I'm going to definitely play with this at the store. If you're listening, Mr. Murphy, you know I'm going to be giving you a call. So nice little lineup. Bordeaux. Two didn't show that great. One showed pretty decent and one showed really well. Just remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Always be willing to try new things, but always be true to your palate. Know what you like, and never let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't like, and if you do that together, we can take the snob out of wine. Cheers.